we that little tour of gigs that we did, we didn't really have the money to get back to Los Angeles, so we were doing gigs to get back home. But anyway, we were playing at the Uptown, which is a very famous place in Philly, and I think the Shy Lights or some bands like that were on the show. And so we're transitioning from the doo-wop era. Well, Earth, Wind & Fire, you know, we had on all these different costumes. We weren't doo-wop. And so we're sitting on the stage. Maurice says, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go out there and we're just gonna sit on the stage in the lotus position in yoga, like yoga. And I'm just going, say that again? We're just gonna sit on the stage in the lotus position like this, and we're not gonna move. Okay. And so we went out there, we all sat down in the lotus position, and they were hollering us, telling us to get off the stage, throwing stuff on the stage and the whole thing. He said, just sit still, just sit still. So we sat there, and then all of a sudden it started to just calm down a little bit. Maurice started playing the kalimba. Ronnie Laws was in the band at that time, and he started playing this melody on the soprano saxophone. Larry Dunn went to the keyboards, and by the time we were finished, we had won the crowd over. It was crazy. It was like they hadn't seen anything like that before. And Philadelphia and DC happened to be, really, if you were to say, if there's a home that Earth, Wind & Fire actually broke out of first, it would be Philly and DC. They just really embraced the whole concept of where we were coming from philosophically and musically. And that's really where it started. And after that gig, we went back to the hotel and we had a meeting, and that was kind of like the cementing meeting that we had together. And we knew that we had something special, and that we knew we were on the right track.
Although you won't be singing for us today, I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about your voice, and particularly that amazing high range of your voice, which, as you wrote, you didn't even know what a falsetto was before you were doing it. Talk a little bit about how you learned to sing in those high ranges.
Well, actually, I grew up listening to female vocalists like Nancy Wilson and Morgana King, Sarah Vaughan, and I was actually just mimicking the songs that I was hearing. And it wasn't until I was playing a gig in Denver that a music teacher came to one of the shows and commented about my falsetto and said that I had an amazing falsetto. And I said, falsetto, huh? That's what, I didn't even know what it was. But I actually studied operatic baritone in college. And so my instrument is like a 4-octave range from baritone to first soprano, give or take a little bit more. And it's always been pretty much a discovery process. That's my life has been. I never look at it as if I've arrived or with it. I just kind of open up and see where it's going to take me for that day.
You are not only contributing so much to Earth, Wind & Fire as a vocalist, but you also were responsible for helping to write out many of the greatest hits that people know from the band today. Can you talk a little bit about your process, as you write about in this book, about several different levels of the songwriting process for you? How does that work?
Well, I wrote about, of the hits, are probably between 60 or 70% co-writer. But, we were just really living life and watching life as it's lived and then writing about it. And that's one reason why, as I discovered, why the book was necessary, because there's some very interesting stories about the songwriting process and what inspired those songs. And that's what, I put in the book. But writing has always been a learning process. I was always a big fan of the great writers before us, Cole Porter's and Linda Creed, and just different writers, and listening to Joni Mitchell, just studying lyric writing, melody writing and stuff. So But the songs were born out of us, living life and watching people live life.
Can you talk about the song Shining Star? Because not only is it such a fabulous song, but it's also the title of this book, and it's obviously a concept that means a lot to you, but there's a deeper level to that song that people, I think, might not necessarily know about, especially younger listeners.
Yeah, well, we wrote this song in a period of time where we were watching we were still segueing from the civil rights time period as we were traveling and seeing so much stuff in the 70s, and we really sang about what we were saying to one another, and the whole Shining Star thing was about telling people that no matter where they were, no matter what circumstances or situations were, that their worth, they were shining stars, and so that's really where that song came from.
You talk about communicating with your shining stars now,
Yeah.
things like Twitter, and which I think must be really interesting after years of communicating with audiences where the internet wasn't even around. What's it like for you communicating with people today?
Well, it is definitely interesting. I have a staff of people. My daughter-in-law is over that area of social networking, and it's a lot of fun because you can get a lot of feedback right away from people as far as what they're feeling, what they're thinking. So it's interesting.
Well, we want to communicate the old-fashioned way as well, since we're lucky enough to be able to do that here today. If folks have questions for Phillip Bailey about the book, about his life, about his career with Earth, Wind, and Fire, if you want to go ahead and raise your hand, we'll take a couple of questions.
And how are you going to
Question
choose
here
them?
on your right.
Hello, nice to meet you. It's a
He has a mic.
pleasure being here, but sorry, I got the microphone here. I was wondering, how do you maintain your voice? Voice is something
Wait, I'm
precious.
trying to see if I can
Okay.
see you. Where are you? Oh, I hear you.
There's a hand.
Actually, it's by the grace of God, really. But I do have people that make some fantastic natural ginger teas and so forth. And there's certain things that I can't do. I make a lot of people very uncomfortable with not being able to handle air conditioning in cars and all that kind of stuff. So they have to sweat it out if they want me to sing at a gig. But just in the process, I kind of learn what things I can and can't do. As far as styles of singing, though I love James Brown a lot, if I sing James Brown tune, I can't sing for 2 days. So,
Doesn't feel so good.
doesn't work.
A question on your left.
Mr. Bailey, actually, I don't have a question. I want to thank you for something. I originally did not come here to see you. I came with my girlfriend, and then when she told me Phillip Bailey, Earth, Wind, and Fire is here, I got sad, and I got choked up for a while. Then I remember why. There was a time when, a very sad part of my life, I lost my son, 18 years old, to a car accident about 7 years ago. And I couldn't get to work, without crying. But one of the very few things that uplifted my soul and soothed my pain was Earth, Wind, and Fire's music.
Wow.
So that's when I discovered what I could say was about a soul music. So I wanted to thank you and the rest of the band for soothing my soul when I really needed it, and for the music. So thank you.
Well, praise God. Hey, interestingly enough, when I talk about, and I think I talk about this in the book, we really understand now, looking back 42 years. I was in Knoxville, Tennessee last night. We gigged in Knoxville, called it early out, and they were worried if I was going to make this event, actually. But interestingly enough, there's been times in my life when the songs have actually come back and actually ministered to me, as if I didn't write it. I remember I was going through a very rough time in my life and having to sing, because the show still must go on, no matter how you feel, no matter what's going on, and there still is life deal going on as we do these shows, write these songs, do these records, do whatever we're doing. Life goes on, and so it's, the music thing is just one part of life. But there was a time when I actually was going through something and was sing a song, and that song actually spoke to me like I didn't write it. So I understand what you're saying, and I give God all the praise for what we've been able to do.
Question on your right.
Speaking of your songs, what happened the 21st night of September?
What happened? You mean on that day? Why did he use that lyric?
Right, why did he use that lyric?
I'm gonna call him and ask him. I don't know why Maurice used that. I don't know, actually.
Another question up here on your left.
Hi, I was listening to Dave Koz on the radio this morning, and he mentioned that That's the Way of the World was actually the title of a movie. And the
Yeah.
song was, so whatever happened to the movie?
It was sad as can be. It really was. It was very sad. It was a very sad movie. And someone got some copies of it, and they reissued it and stuff, and I was like, oh God, no. But, the movie didn't do that well, but it gave us a reason to actually write the songs for the movie, and the album blew up and the movie sucked. So,
Which same could be said, there's also some great stories in here about the other, who knows the other film that Earth, Wind, and Fire is in? Thank you, which I think is still one of the greatest movies of all time, but I'm definitely in a small minority, and there's some great stories in here about the music that was in both of those movies.
I just want to say thank you for your Triumph album. It's my drive time music every morning.
oh, thank you. Pass the word around.
Question on your right.
Hi, I love your music so much. I've seen you in concert, and I love Reasons and Fantasy. They're my two favorite songs. Hey, I made you sing.
Well, we actually talk about the reason. Now, if I would just want to say this, because I'm not going to give the story away, but if anybody out there played Reasons at their wedding and they're no longer married, then you got it mixed up. Your wedding was your funeral, and that was the wrong song for you to be playing on your wedding date.
My question is, how did you get Earth, Wind, and Fire name? I thought maybe it was about astrology, Earth, and
It was.
Fire, and it was?
Yeah, actually, Maurice, I'm sorry not to cut you off. Maurice White was, everybody would, the first question after they said hi to you, they'd ask you what sign you were back then.
Yes. What's
And
your sign?
I'm a Taurus. So
Cancer, we
back
love
then,
it.
my
Compatible.
Maurice did a astrological chart makeup and stuff, and he didn't have any water in his chart when he was putting together the whole concept of Earth, Wind, and Fire, and so he named it Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Wow.
A question on your left up here.
Hello, Phillip. I just wanted to know what brought you and Phil Collins together. I just really love that period of music that you guys did.
Well, actually, I'm going to give you a kind of a long way around. In this industry, you start out doing music and it's something that you would do for free. And I was very surprised that I even got, first time I ever made a couple of dollars doing music. I was like, wow, you get paid for it too? Because I was so happy. But you get in the business and stuff, and a lot of the business stuff can suck the life out of if you let it. So for me, I've always tried to do different things that would just kind of keep me sharp, spark the energy and the affection for the art form. I was working on my second album, and we had some ideas to actually do some Phil Collins songs, and we reached out to him because he was actually using the Phoenix horns on his tour dates then, and one thing led to another, and he decided that he would produce the record, and that's how that came about.
Question in the center.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Faye Wallace from Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church when you were there. And I was so proud of you, Frank Wilson, and Ali. And James Cleveland used to say that we didn't appreciate the people that we had. So it took me a long time to really love you guys because you belong to us. So now, since I'm 60 plus and everybody's talking about Earth, Wind, and Fire and Phillip, I said, Phillip went to church with us. You know, because you just take advantage of what you have. But I love you so much, Phillip.
Oh, thank you very
special
much.
to me.
Thank you. I love you too.
A question about halfway down the tent.
Hi, Phillip. I'm a huge fan. Grew up on your music. Have seen Earth, Wind, and Fire perform many times. And one of my favorite concerts was a few years ago when you performed with Chicago. And the reason I loved it was because looking at that stage with all the musical instruments and all of the musicians, and we don't hear real music anymore. So thank you for that. And I'm wondering if you're planning another tour with Chicago.
Well, actually, thank you so much. Actually, we did the tour 3 times, and it was that same one of those same kind of impressions that I got watching the Chicago fans and the Earth, Wind, Fire fans kind of embrace each other at the end of the night, and different people making friends. That I came up with a name called Music is Unity, and my daughter Trinity and I started a foundation that benefits emancipated foster care youth. And so you can go on our website, philipbailey.com, and get involved with that, because I have a lot of family members out there, and I know that even after they get up, they still need support. But there's nothing like having to fend for yourself, at your early teens and so forth. So thanks for the compliment.
Question in the front.
Yeah, hi, Phillip. I'm Rick. I saw you at the Hollywood Bowl last year.
Yeah, last year and the year before that.
I also saw you at the California Jam 1.
Oh, wow. You're that old? You don't look like you that old?
I know, sweet 16. It was like 95 degrees that day.
Yeah.
And you guys had these big long jackets with the fur around it.
Mm-hmm. And you wondered.
I mean, I was sweating just looking at you.
Right.
I got sunburned that day, man. It was really hot.
That's still the largest crowd that we've ever played for, 250,000 people. And the site was actually in Rancho Cucamonga. Interestingly enough, right at the site where the Citizen Bank Arena is now. And one of the GMs over there has the plaque or the poster, and he plaqued it and gave it to me.
Thank you, Phillip. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Question down here on your left in the back.
Hey, Phillip, how you doing, man?
Great.
You actually kind of answered the question before when you were talking about your foundation and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Do a lot of the performers that you run across and stuff really give back to the community and stuff like that? Because I never hear really a whole lot of, I guess they keep it at a down low or something like that.
I'm not sure, but I just think that to whom much is given, much is required, and for me, it's just about using your platform and your life with purpose and meaning, to make a positive impact on humanity.
Question on your right.
I wanted to know about an urban legend I heard about your group. I wonder if it was true or not. That it was the first drug-free group ever formed.
Well, that would be pretty big, right? Urban legend. All right. So, you know what?
Maybe we could rephrase, because you were right about this.
No, you know what? I think that for us, Maurice really wanted to dispel a lot of the perception that people had of musicians, because he came out of the jazz era, and there were so many people that have died of drugs and taken their careers and so forth. So with us, and he really he was really a great example of a person that just did not. There wasn't. He didn't have time for that kind of stuff. So we were 10 years younger, and the band pretty much just adopted the way he mentored us to, stay away from that kind of thing and just, go straight. Keep it real.
Question about halfway
Have a
down.
natural high.
On your left.
Hi, Phillip. Saida Garrett here.
Hi, darling. Saw you, girl. Hi.
I just got one.
Hey, and congratulations.
Thank you.
You little sweetie pie.
He liked it, so we put a ring on it. I have one question for you and your lovely wife.
Saida co-wrote our single from our last album. Give her a big round of applause. She's one of the wonderful, brilliant talents of our day.
You and your wife owe me dinner,
Yeah,
and I eat every day.
every day, yeah.
Sometimes 2-3 times. So if you can.
But we only taking you to one,
Okay, well,
so pick.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey Phillip, how you doing?
Great.
Longtime fan of you and your music, and just wanted to know, do you have an opinion of rap music these days and the lyrics, and do you think that there are any rap artists who can have the same kind of positive impact on this generation as your music had on our generation?
Well, I think that music is just a reflection of the times that we're living in, and surely, there's a lot of genius rap music, out there, and rap artists, and there are some that are making a very positive influence on the music scene. But I think that we have to understand that life is different than it was back, and when music was king like that. We didn't have cable TV and all the stuff that vying for our attention from an entertainment standpoint, and so records and movies were it. You'd sit all for hours to wait to get an album. You'd study album covers and so forth and so on, and you'd have listening parties, and so everybody listened to the whole album and the whole. Those days are gone. So it's different. So it's hard to compare or to say that will this ever happen. You just have to let it be what it was and let it be what it is.
Question in the center.
Hi, Phillip. I'd like to thank you and Earth, Wind, and Fire for your contribution to life. Quick question. A child is born with the heart of gold.
Yes, sir.
The ways of the world make their heart turn cold. Who wrote that verse?
That's Maurice. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Question up here towards the side.
Phil, Charles, not a question. Just wanted to say, as a fan and as a former employee, thank you for everything. And Janet, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Question in the center.
Hey Phil, a longtime fan. I was born the year that Way of the World came out, and love that song. Anyways, question, what was it like to collaborate with Ramsey Lewis, and can you talk a little bit about that album?
Well, actually, I'm doing some dates with Ramsey now. We just went to the Middle East and went to Seoul, Korea, and we're doing some dates in New York City. It's like I talk about in the book, and my life is kind of mysterious because a lot of things that I want to do in my heart of hearts, actually, they just kind of happen. So, you know what happens like that, huh? And so like Ramsey gave me a call like about a year or so ago, and we've been doing gigs together. And for a vocalist, there's nothing like singing with a person that is as accomplished as Ramsey Lewis. I mean, he can pull from so many different places. And as I talk about in my book, jazz is my first love, and I would have done anything to just, to do that. And so at this stage in my life, to be able to collaborate with Ramsey and do music, it's a great treat. He's a great person and just a phenomenal pianist.
I think we have time for about 2 more questions, if I'm reading the hand signals correctly.
Hey, Phillip.
Hi, baby.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
My question is, do you have an upcoming album coming out soon?
Actually, we're recording a Christmas record, and it will be the first Christmas record that Earth, Wind & Fire's ever done. So it will be out, seasonal record. It will be out this year. And huh?
Go ahead and finish.
No, and so working on that, and we're going to do it in between touring and get it out for the season.
And then I just want to know, did you know Roxanne's here?
Hi, Roxy. Roxy actually has a record on the seasonal album. Actually, Roxanne saved the day on the Chinese Wall album too. A little story, quick story. I was getting on the plane actually to go to London and to work with Phil Collins. And Roxanne calls me, she says, I got this song I want you to hear. And Roxanne will not take no for an answer. That's Roxy. So she brought me a cassette, and on that cassette was Chinese Wall. Yeah. I said, thanks, Roxy. Yeah, at the airport. No, don't nobody meet me at the airport. Don't try it. Hi, Debbie.
We have time for 1 more question up front.
Hi, Phillip. I've
Hi.
seen you many, many times in concert, and I always want to know, do you ever get tired of singing the same songs? Because the fans always want to hear their favorites. Do you get tired of that?
Well, I'm rendering a service to the fans. And, if you come to the house, I'm not going to be singing Fantasy and Reason walking around the house. No, that's not going to happen.
You come to my house anytime.
But every night, when you go out there on the stage after, 43 years and, all over the world, those seats are filled, those people are out there, and they came to hear those songs that we recorded. And so it's new. It's when I sing and minister to them in song, it's a privilege and a pleasure. It really is. I'm very blessed.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together one more time.
Let me acknowledge all my family members. Can y'all just stand real quick? My sister right there, Bev, and I'm not going to say everybody's name and all that kind of stuff, but please give them a big round of applause for coming out and supporting me. My grandchildren, my children, and not all of them are out there. Hey, thank you guys so much for coming out. Like I said, this is thank you. This is a labor of love, and Earth, Wind & Fire. Okay, darling. Okay. All right.
Earth, Wind & Fire, everybody. Okay, this is the fire part.
Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for coming out and supporting, and tweet and text and do whatever and tell everybody about the book. And thank you very much. God bless you. Have a great day. Love you.